This is one of the most important parts of landscape photography, light. And unlike any other photography styles out there, light in landscape photography cannot be controlled whatsoever. But we live in an amazing time where we have all the necessary tools at our disposal in order to plan and forecast the light while we go on site. And in this video, I'm gonna share with you some few tips to know how to plan the light when you go on site, and then we're gonna go through a sunset, to the different stages of a sunset together here at the Devil's Bridge. So as you can see behind me, this is the Devil's Bridge. This is a place which is really beautiful. It's located south of Berlin, close to the Polish border, and this is a place very easily accessible. There is a car park very nearby, and within 10 minutes walking, you just get there. So no problem, very easily accessible. And this is just a wonderful place for sunset and photography, obviously. So let's get there, and I'm gonna start sharing my few tips with you. The first tip that I have for you, and this is also the first thing that I am doing when I'm going on site, I am looking for the weather forecast. So that might appear very simple, but in the end, the big advantage of doing this is that you will ensure to see if you have rain, if you have clouds, if you will have sun, and exactly what type of weather you can expect. And even though you have all this information, you still won't be sure that you will have great light, but you still can increase your chances of seeing the sun. And for example, if you look at an app like Windy, this is the one I'm using, and I find it very accurate, so I keep using it over and over, and I don't find a better one, so that's totally fine for me to use it. And you can also look at where are the clouds, if they are like high clouds, low clouds, and high clouds are still okay, because when the sun will go down, then it means that it's likely also to appear when it will get lower. So you might get light a bit later than you think, but you might eventually get light. But if you have like low clouds, then that might be a bit difficult, and then it might be a little bit over for you. So if you're close to your place, then just go and maybe take a look. Maybe you get lucky. If you're far away, maybe it's not really worth taking the chances. So put all the chances on your side by forecasting and by looking at the weather forecasts. Once you got the good weather forecast, then it's time to scout. So you can scout online and so on, but in my opinion, this is not always the best choice. I really like to go and scout in real life. I know that you have tools today like TP, 3D, or sun locators that are kind of helping you to see the shadows of light and see how the light is moving over the place you might be looking at to photograph, but it won't replace the reality. And when you go on site, then you're able to see exactly where the light is going, how it's acting, and especially in places like I am now. It's in the middle of a small forest, so basically, no matter what applications you will use, you won't really be able to see how the light is impacting the place. You might look online for some pictures that might give you a very good insight of what's happening, but looking at the light in real life, there is no better solutions. So for this, either you arrive the day before if you can, and then you scout and you see how it is. Maybe you take also a few pictures with a great light, if there is a great light, or if you can't arrive the day before, then you just go on the specific day, but go earlier during the day. Try to arrive like maybe an hour before sunset and see how the light is impacting the place you have around you. And based on this, you will be able to do amazing stuff, and you will save a lot of time, and you might be able to get even better photographs by placing yourself at the right locations. This actually brings me to my third tip, and this is the use of PhotoPills. PhotoPills, for those who know it, then no problem. For those who don't, then that's an app that will help you plan and forecast the light in your scene. It has many functionalities. It's a one-time cost app, at least at the time I bought it, and it is very practical. So I put a link in the description below for those who might be interested in it. And basically you can plan a lot of stuff. You can see where the sun will rise, where it will set, and how it will highlight during the day, the directions it will take, and you can also use some kind of augmented reality functionalities. You can also use it for Milky Way purpose, for star trace, for a lot of informations also on focusing. So you will be able to use it for a lot of stuff. But in our particular case here, we're really looking for the light, and this app will really help you to target the perfect light in your in your scene and in your photography. Sorry, I'm just like surrounded by mosquitoes. There is like kind of stagnating water and obviously mosquitoes are all over the place. All right, time for sunset. So I am a little bit further than I was before, and now I placed my camera to be able to shoot the famous bridge. So I was a little scared because the sky is fairly covered, but as I said, they're like high clouds. So meaning like when the sun goes down, then it goes below the clouds and basically highlights everything. I'm not sure if you can see it very well here, and I'm recording it on the camera. You might be able to see it here, and basically the sun is just highlighting just behind the bridges the trees that are on the back, and basically it creates a very beautiful color contrast between the foreground that we have here, where basically everything is kind of in the shadow, and the background where we have the light. And since the eye is attracted to the light when you take photographies or when you look at photographies, then your eye will directly go towards the end of the pictures, and it will create not only depth but also amazing colors. And I believe that it's a wonderful place in fall. Now it's spring, like we're getting into the summer slowly, and it's everything green and everything shiny, so the colors are still amazing, and with the yellow color from the sun and orangish, all the leaves on the background over there, they're like not only green but a bit yellow, a bit orange, and that's just wonderful. So I'm now shooting with my XF 18 to 55 millimeters on my Fuji X-T3, and that helps me to get very close to it. And I'm gonna change it right after and use my wide angle, because I don't think you, yes you can, there are actually a few branches here, and I want to kind of create a frame with the bottom part where we have some nice glass, and the top part where we have this branch here that will kind of frame the bridge over there, and I guess that's gonna give an amazing rendering. So I'm gonna try to do it in portrait and landscape orientation, and let's see what comes out of this. Alright, so this is the golden hour now, and it's really wonderful what's happening in front of me. I'm sorry, I'm just like all excited, so that you guys can have a bit of imagination of what this magic is. So as you can see here, so there's a bit of crop unfortunately on my camera, but you can imagine it then. Here on the top, we basically have the branch coming over. At the bottom here, we get all the grass that are like surrounding the place. We've got like amazing reflections here on the right hand side of the picture, and then of course we get our arch here with the perfect reflection, and on the back all the lights on the trees on the background, and it's just wonderful. It's placed for an amazing scenery. I think one thing which is like really amazing is the reflection, because we get like not only light in the trees but also in the water. So with this, it really drives the eyes. It creates some kind of diagonals that drive the eyes. So the light is really playing a very important role here, and it's just amazing. It's the golden hour. It's just perfect. Alright, I'm at my next location. So if you guys come here, bring mosquito repellent. I didn't bring any today, and I'm like being attacked, like literally attacked. So luckily I've got long sleeves here and a jean, so I'm like fairly safe, but still I'm being attacked. So just a good recommendation here that will make your life easier. Anyways, I moved now, so I went on the other side of the bridge. So basically before I had the light on my back, and so everything was highlighted in the front and there was no really harsh light, everything was kind of smoother. And now I moved on the other side of the bridge and I have the sun right in front of me, a little bit on the side. And so now I need to be very cautious on how I take my photographs, because the big risk I have here is to blow out my highlights. And now the sky is just like coloring is just amazing. It's orangish yellow, it's beautiful. But I want to get that sky, and I want to get my my beautiful bridge in front of me, the reflection. And I don't know if you can see it, but there is like a small piece of wood in front, which is my foreground. It's really amazing. And by the way, if you guys, I'm shooting now with my wide angle lens. If you guys are interested, like just take a look at this video. It's a video I did about the wide angle lens. So I did it a few months ago in the Lofoten Islands. So it's gonna be a little bit colder atmosphere, but still amazing. The way I am shooting, in order to ensure that I have my sky and my foreground well highlighted, I am doing a bracketing. So basically, this is a series of 3 shots that takes like the base exposure that you have, and then a shot with more highlights and a shot with less highlight, like more shadows. And basically you can set it up on your camera the way you want. I personally choose it with like 2 steps above, 2 steps below, so that I get like a fairly broad dynamic range, and then I can merge them in HDR, high dynamic range, in Lightroom, and then play with them. And then that just gives amazing results, and that helps to really brings a lot of dynamic range in your photographs in case you have strong highlights like I have now. But wow, this scene is amazing and the place is just really cool. Could not have expected for kind of better conditions. Well, can always be better conditions, but those conditions are really good. I mean, don't forget, I'm in Germany. It's a land where it tends to rain a lot, and yeah, second day with sun, I'm happy. And just before it was like really overcast. So don't think that because it's overcast at one point that it's gonna be like this the whole evening. Usually when the sun is a little warm, I notice that kind of the clouds tend to move a little bit at sunset time. And now, unfortunately, the light is disappearing slowly. So I guess it's a little bit of blue hours. So I'm now having a small composition. I'm not sure if you can see. My camera is here, and I have like the grass right in front of me. And I'm shooting the bridge on the background. Just before it was a little bit more highlighted, so it was fine. Now it's a little less, so I'm dealing with this, and I guess that's gonna be soon the end. And but in any case, you just like saw something amazing tonight. Like really, the conditions were perfect. So I guess now I'm gonna get back to my camper, look at the pictures, and then we can discuss them and see how it goes, and maybe the few things that are important to see and important to pay attention to when you're taking photographs like this and at sunset, and when you look for amazing lights. Alright, I'm back in my motorhome, and before we continue, I just wanted to let you know that in case you like the content I'm producing, the tips I'm giving you, and the places I'm showing you, then feel free to subscribe by clicking on the subscribe button below, and also you can click here on the small logo which is in the corner and subscribe to my channel by this way. And in case you like this video in particular, then feel free to give me a thumbs up. That would be really amazing. That's extremely rewarding for me, and the YouTube algorithm likes it, so we are all happy here. Thank you very much. And now let's continue with our topic, with the light. So I actually went in the morning to shoot the sunrise at the location where I was, and I wanted to share with you the pictures from the sunset and the sunrise so that we see really the difference in light. And trust me, there is something interesting here. So as you can see here, this is the picture I showed you earlier in the video, and to me this is a nice composition that represents well the place where I was, and the light was just really amazing. It was coming from my back, and the sun was highlighting here the forest and the back of the forest, and the foreground on my picture here is still in the shadow, so that creates some very nice light contrast between the foreground and the background. And here we still have the light which is actually attracting our eyes towards our subject, which is the bridge, and here the sculpture in the water. And to me that just creates a warm atmosphere, relaxing and really interesting to look at. But let's see now how the one from the morning looked like. And that's the one I captured in the morning. And to me that's also a stunning picture. And that's rather a similar composition, slightly different. I was a little bit more on the right, but overall that's the same composition. And the light is really different and gives totally different atmosphere. First of all, we've got the fog that was created because the water was warm during the night, and of course the air cooled down at this period of the year during the night, and that created this beautiful fog. But unfortunately, we didn't have so much sunlight because there was a lot of haze and some clouds in the sky that kind of blocked the light from coming from the left-hand side here and just highlighting all the forest. So normally we should have had the forest highlighted here, and that would have been really interesting to have this light on top of the fog and well, top of the composition, of course. That would have been wonderful. But I guess that's interesting to see the difference in like atmosphere you can get like a few hours apart. In this case, like I would not tell you which one I prefer, honestly. I mean, that's up to you, because personally I like both. But yeah, like just a wonderful time. So in the end, what can we conclude from this? Is that when you go to a place and you expect to have some light, don't have too high expectations, because you might just arrive on location and then just not have exactly the light you expected. And that's exactly what happened to me in the morning. I was hoping for amazing light, and I just got the fog, a little bit of light in the sky, and actually that gave amazing pictures. So I just dealt with what I had on the moment, and this was really amazing. And I guess the second thing I could tell you here is that give yourself a little bit of flexibility when you go to new places. Like give yourself the opportunity to go maybe a second time in case you really had poor conditions and no opportunity to get a good light. And especially if the weather forecasts are like in your favor, then give yourself the opportunity to really go and shoot again the same place, because that might just help you to get amazing photograph. And trust me, you won't regret it, because coming back home with poor photographs when you know that you might have had the opportunity to get better ones, it's a little bit frustrating. So yeah, that's something I would always try to do, if you can, of course. Like, it's not always possible. All right, with that, we are reaching the end of this video, and I wish you good luck with your photography, and see you next week for new adventures.